Tuscany anarcho-liberals. A group of liberals, disgruntled with their lack of economic freedom and the pace of parliamentary reform, have formed a new faction in Tuscan politics. The anarcho-liberals are the revolutionary avant-garde of the liberal ideology. They will not hesitate to use whatever means necessary to see their ideas of freedom and free trade instituted both in Tuscany and abroad. So, tiny little 3-province minor is probably about to become liberal. Like, hardcore liberal. Will Prussia keep getting more and more men, or will they run out at some point? Battles look like they aren't gaining you much ground. The battles in this are definitely slower paced, and a lot bigger. The reason that Prussia keep on getting more troops is because as their country mobilises, more and more men are basically ready for duty and sent to the front line. I have not mobilised, so all the troops I'm using are my regulars, so if I lose them then they're gone. I could, however, mobilise, and I can mobilise 259 more divisions. It basically... what's the word? Simulates like the lead up and actual World War I, where countries would just mobilise their entire population, give them guns, and then send them into the fight. And that's how you get battles with like 1 million, 2 million, 3 million people involved. They can be absolutely huge later on. Especially as your military technology increases, you get more mobilisation. Which one is it? One of these increases the amount of mobilisation you get. That one. Mobilisation size +1. Mobilisation size +1. So battles will change a lot by the end of the game, yes. So at the moment, there's kind of a bit more of a balance between infantry, cavalry and artillery. At the end of the game, the majority of your standing army will be artillery, because when you mobilise you only get infantry. Then you're basically throwing waves and waves of lightly armoured soldiers into the fray, and defensive battles get massive bonuses. So right now there's not much difference between attack and defence. Later on, artillery gets such ridiculously massive bonuses defending that you want to maintain a line like this and then slowly but surely just push the enemy like a steamroller forwards, doing as little attacking as possible and defending wherever possible, because otherwise you will be losing like tens of thousands of men per tick to enemy artillery. Battle of Prague. Victory. Strategic mobility. Excellent, we've got it. So we can either go for muzzle-loaded weapons, which will increase the attack of our infantry and our cavalry. Better artillery. Or army professionalism, which is morale and tactics. I mean, tactics is the same thing as in EU4, so we probably want that. Oh, and here, mobilization impact, -5%. So yeah, actually, if I were to mobilise right now, my industry would grind to a halt, because it would take 100% of my industry to maintain that. So I want professionalism, so we can reduce mobilisation impact for the future, get a bunch more morale, and make the armies just fight better. So in Victoria 2 Vanilla, Prussia starts with army professionalism research, nobody else does, and that's why Prussian armies at the beginning of the game are so ridiculous. But Prussia just took a pounding, so I'm hoping I can piece them out. Oh, white piece. There we go. War's over. We didn't take anything, but neither did we lose anything, and this was a defensive war, so technically we won. Good. Let's get the ships back home so they can go and repair. We'll send them to here, where we've got another 13 ships waiting. Yeah, we've been producing those all along. You can split into units of 4. And then there's going to be 1, 2, 3. That's another 3 armies ready. But my armies here did take an absolute savage beating, so we're going to have to replenish some of them. So let's go ahead and start placing them over here. So in this game, all armies are maintained by a segment of population from different provinces. So as units take casualties, the population of that province takes casualties, and if the population falls too low, it will not replenish the unit anymore. So where it has these red skulls, that means that the population of that province has run out and they will no longer reinforce. And the yellow ones mean it's getting close to that point. So generally, in peacetime, you want to get rid of the red guys and then replace them with white ones, so that they can actually replenish. Is Prussia weakened now, or they recover soon? No, they're definitely weakened. Like, we killed a lot of their people. And also there's a prestige thing, and because they failed to meet their goals during the war, they will have lost prestige. And prestige basically is the order of which the market sells goods to you. So the higher prestige you have, it's either prestige or it's like overall ranking. I can't remember. I think it might actually just be prestige. The better access to goods and materials you will have, which are not in your sphere. If you have a sphere, then you get like first dibs on that, and then it goes into the market. So generally, if you want to be a highly industrialized nation, you want to be high prestige, so you can buy in raw materials and then sell your stuff first. Am I number one in the world? I am. And probably by quite a long way. Yeah, we have almost triple the points that Prussia has in second place. Just because my industry is just through the roof right now. Although my industry, there's a lot of closed factories here. Poor Congo, 4 closed factories. So at some point I will need to just spend a bunch of money just to open them up again. Because my population, they've been in so many wars that they've just been bled dry. So at this stage we're going to reduce our military spending down to 50%. We're going to reduce our naval spending down to 50%, which is a little bit more dangerous because that takes longer to replenish. And that will hopefully give me enough of a surplus to start repaying these loans. Then once the loans are gone, we can start focusing on other things. No, it's not really paying off. Right, we're going to go to 20% tariffs. That should help a lot because people are buying a lot from me. But increasing tariffs makes raw materials more expensive. But I just got the coke technology, which means I produce more coal. And coal is my biggest import right now, so that will have reduced my reliability on the market. Tensions in Istria. Recently, the international community has become increasingly aware of the so-called plight of the poor oppressed people in Istria. That's me. It is claimed we have long oppressed them and that they long to be free from our benevolent rule. We will, of course, brook no interference in our rule of Istria. So I can lose 41 prestige, which is actually a huge amount, or gain 10 flashpoint tension. So flashpoints are basically crises which erupt. So someone could say, oh, the poor people of Istria, we need to support their struggle for freedom. Someone like Prussia, who's opposed to me, could say we're going to support them. Then I have to look to my allies and say, right, who's going to support me? And if we're not able to come to an agreement with Prussia through negotiations, war will break out. Alright, railroad transport groups. At this point, specialists form certain groups that service specialised railroad units. These could quickly load and reload trains and service the full movement of army units, so we get another 1% mobilisation. So 1% of our population is now ready to join the army, should we mobilise. We seem to have 2 units here, let's move them. And then we'll need to kill these 2 off, which we will in fact do with this unit. There we are. Okay, so we defeated the Bulgarian rebels. We have our armies back in position. We are taking a little attrition in a few places. Ah, it's you two. Okay. Well, we can just split you up. Alright, so we're now earning a profit, so we can start to repay these loans. We really didn't have a huge amount, so it's fine. Alright, so if I were to build some units, where can I get them from? Most of them would be European. I've kind of bled Africa dry. Most of my soldiers right now are African. Because my thinking was, if I recruit regular troops from Africa, then I don't need to worry about shipping them during war. So when I'm at war, I'll be getting most of my troops from European provinces, which will be nearer to the front line. So there is method behind the madness. Right, let's go and spread you lot out. And then we need to start thinking about exactly what troops we need to raise and where. Group, group. in group. So these guys need generals. Kadairo, definitely. So I think I lost one full army in that previous war. Another defense and morale. That looks good to me. So this is... Well, there are two areas which definitely could do with improvement. One, I'd love to see templates from EU4. So when I'm replacing troops, it replaces them automatically, so I don't need to do all of this silly amounts of micromanagement to find that one unit of artillery for that one army. And the other one is to give me a better overview of what generals are available. Like, give me a chart. Or a list. Looks like rapid military expansion isn't much a thing in Victoria. It's not. It definitely isn't. Because the price of infamy is so obscenely high, that you could take like this bit of Hungary, for example, then half the world will hate you. So if you then go over that AE, then your allies will break away from you and basically everyone declares war on you. It's very, very bad. It's just like aggressive expansion in EU4, but probably worse. Ah, we have some units in there. Austria. Let's repay another chunk of the loans. And then there were 30,000 left. Wow. Something just crashed. Oh. I misclicked and then reduced my tariffs from 20% to minus 20. Whoops. Sorry. I'm glad that that didn't run for too long. Because tariffs, handled properly, can be a huge source of wealth. Alright, so we just got field fortifications, so you can see here, every single unit you can build just gained 1 defense. So they're already becoming better at defending rather than attacking. And this isn't like Europa Universalis, where armies will attack and then defend, then attack and then defend. It's all... If you're attacking a province, you use only your attack stats, none of your defense stats. While the guy that you're attacking uses only his defense stats.
Ready to serve, my lord.
Hey, Briar, thanks very much for the host. Welcome to Briar's people. Which is how artillery becomes so ridiculously powerful later on. So if we look at the stats now, infantry have an attack of 5 and a defense of 6. So infantry already defend naturally better. Cavalry 3.5 to 3. But cavalry, actually, these are actually better now. So I'm using hussars, which have a reconnaissance of 2. So the thing about hussars is they are used to scout out and capture provinces without forts. So they're not actually a combat unit, they're a recon unit, which is why you want the unit with the highest recon for the cavalry. Then artillery has an attack of 1.5 and a defense of 4, so already you can see artillery is very strong in the defense. Later on, that defense is going to be something like 30. Because there are a lot of technologies that increase artillery defense. See if we can see any of them. Defense plus 2, defense plus 2, there we go. Defense plus 2. Defense plus 1, defense plus 1. And those are the late artillery where actually they get better at attacking because of gas. And artillery support, I think, is the amount of their stat that they have for the unit in front. So that works again like EU4. It's been a while since I played this, I don't remember exactly all the bits. Right, so you just have 3 infantry, you still have 8 hussars. So if I'm low on hussars anywhere, I know where to replace them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select all of my armies. And we're just going to disband all on-demand units. So this is getting rid of all the red units. And then we'll need to work through the list and replace them. We also need to replace the generals that we lost. Because these should all be full-strength armies. And Esparza here, our attack 2 defense 4 guy, has an obscene amount of experience. Plus 31 morale bonus, plus 27 organization bonus, which is pretty nice. He's fought a lot of battles though. I don't really need speed. I'm getting a lot of speed generals. Speed reduction, morale and organization is good. What I really want are people with good stats. Whoops. which is not you. I'll have to give up some prestige to replace him. I didn't mean to click that. At least I didn't choose that guy. Another thing that would be really nice in this game is the ability to fire generals. Gordo's looking like the best choice. And he really is the last of the good generals, so basically all of the generals that I have now I'd like to fire. All the ones that aren't assigned. I could actually get another 3 generals to see if they're any good. Oh, where are they? There they are. No. 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 Actually, did that go in the right order? Yeah. Nope, all 3 of them are terrible. Right, so next thing I need to do is split out the guys who are at full strength. And then after that, work out... Yeah, there's a silly amount of micro in this game. Work out which units are missing. And what. See that, if they ever make a Victoria 3, it's this level of micro that they need to get rid of. It's not where the strength of this game lies. The strength of this game lies in how population is managed. Alright, what are you missing? You are missing an artillery. I can fix that. New unit. Solved. What are you missing? An infantry and a cavalry. I can give you a cavalry. You are at full strength. You're missing infantry. I have a feeling I'm going to may as well just hire a bunch of infantry. So how far away from guards am I? Because at some point I'm going to be just replacing en masse all of my infantry for guards. Not until breech-loaded rifles, which is an 1850 tech. That's actually in 2 years. Because basically guards are your regular trained soldiers, and then infantry are what the mobilized troops become. As long as they don't go overboard with the simplification like EU4. Yeah, that's true. Seeing what they're doing with Imperator, though, I don't think that's going to be a problem. They recognise different games of different markets. And EU4 was marketed towards the less grand strategy hardcore. The less versed in grand strategy. I don't think it's necessarily for people who don't do grand strategy, it's just like a new audience. Right, you are also at full strength. You can go to Burgas. You are also at full strength. You just need to reinforce. Imperator's looking good so far, yeah. Very similar to EU4, but that's not exactly a complaint. It's also made by the lead designer from EU4, so it's not a surprise. Alright, so now I am making a silly amount of money, so what I need to do is start lowering things like tariffs. Actually no, I'm going to keep the tariffs high, and I'm going to reduce taxes. Because the red here means that there's a portion of my population that's starting to starve, because I can literally not afford to buy food. So lots of red is bad, yellow is... sorry, lots of red is very bad. Yellow is bad but manageable, green is the sweet spot, green is what you want. Then people with blue basically have cash to burn, so they can get some of the things that they would like to have, like cigarettes or sugar or tea. And then the cyan are people who have way too much money to burn, and they buy all the really big luxuries, like luxury clothing, luxury furniture and stuff like that, opium. Right, the other thing I wanted to do is splash a bunch of cash on lifting all the unsubsidized, or opening all the closed factories. And then if this fails, I will go ahead and just close the ones which are closed. But I want people to have jobs. How much in debt did that put me? 80,000 in debt! Ugh! And subsidies have just gone through the freaking roof because of it. Well, we'll let this balance for a bit. And hopefully some of those factories don't need to be closed again. Gain 2 prestige, lose 10 cotton. Yes, please. Rebels are still organising, though not nearly as much as there once were. So we're going to go ahead and suppress the Hungarians, the Romanians, and the Austrians. Subsidies are still utterly ridiculous. So I think the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn off all the subsidies. Am I? I mean, the factories that I'm currently subsidizing, I will need during wars. I want to control the market on the arms production. Hey, human. Or a person of human descent. Colinus, thank you very much for the follow. That's a name I recognise. Pit coal. Pit coal is much higher graded than brown coal. At this point, new techniques made refining pit coal much simpler. Cool, so my coal production should now be steadily increasing, so I will not need to be importing as much, which also will have the side effect of making my factories that much more efficient, because buying coal from internal is a lot cheaper because of my high tariffs. Okay, who are you fighting this time, Persia? The Ottomans, what a surprise. Oh, and Castile. You know what, I'm okay with having a crack at Castile. So we're going to go ahead and beef up our military again. I think I'm just going to turn off subsidies. If you cannot afford to maintain an arms factory during a huge global war, you have no right to be in business. Especially because Castile is the 5th greatest power in the world. They used to be 2nd. They've had a few setbacks. And also, the only place they can really get to me is down here. And if I block them off by sea, then they can't get to that. Huzzah! And I'm relatively confident of my ability to completely thrash them in a fight. Right, the other thing I wanted to do is grab all of you, and we're just going to... Not you. Stick you here. And we're just going to start creating new units. Meanwhile... we're going to get all defensive. So that was 10th of January. So the 10th of February we need to have accepted... Oh no, 7th of February. And we can improve opinion. With those guys. Okay, so the subsidy problem is gone. That also means I definitely need to reduce the tax burden on my people, and also the tariff burden. I'm still making a small fortune. Well, let's repay the loans that we have. Done. Right, you need to group up. So, create new unit. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Create unit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Create unit. 1, 2. Again, this is where having that template thing would be really nice. Then I can just keep clicking the template button. 5, 6. In fact, we'll move you afterwards. And not to mention the huge amounts of attrition I'm suffering while we're sitting on this one tile. But unfortunately, military templates matter. Too much artillery and they die because they're not properly flanked, not properly covered. Too much cavalry and they suck in combat. Too much infantry and they're not sufficiently supported by everything else. I also need to be very careful that this army is sufficiently strong. With that much infantry, it won't be. Actually, I can just say no leader here. There we go. Problem solved. Close you, and then we can say 1, 2. Actually, no. Castile wants access. Let me think about no. Alright, we're in the war. Let's go crush their navy. You're an attacking guy, aren't you? Yes, you are. We've actually got a pretty good admiral, which is nice. Right, so what's this war actually over? Ottoman liberation of Basra. Tariff even more so my factories can be even more profitable. We could go on the offensive, and you know what? We may as well. Let's just make sure we keep this borderline going. And this is actually a perfect example, just one long line just holding everything. We'll siege that down, we'll have some units in reserve in case they decide to attack us in one of those provinces. And then we can just throw troops into the fight, as and when necessary. Right, you lot. Group, and we'll do the same process with you in a minute. Two, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I need to give all those guys generals, don't I? 5, 6. 4, 1, 2, oops. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. So we have too much artillery and too much cavalry. That's fine, because if we ever mobilize, then we have cavalry and artillery to give to those armies. Right, now let's go and give out some generals. Gordo, definitely a good candidate. In fact, this is a lot of my, like, top generals here. And then also a couple who are absolutely rubbish. Oh wait, not the best.